Hey there, good morning. It's Sunday morning. I think it's still morning. Doesn't matter whether it's still morning or not. I released a video. Oh, I should talk about that, what you just saw. There'll be a replay of that at the end, slowed down a little bit so you can read all of the comments. And I did that, like after the last video I posted on this channel, I was reading some of the comments and I was thinking about things. Right, I said in that video that I would be cutting out the so-called dangerous operations from the videos, and part of that is because it's so annoying getting those comments, and part of that is the eventuality, in my mind anyway, that YouTube will knuckle under, like they've done so much in the past, to these types of people and start restricting videos that have what they judge to be dangerous content. So it's kind of a proactive type idea on my part, you know? But then I got to thinking about it and I said, how are you gonna do that, John? How are you gonna not show that stuff? Right? So I decided to, first of all, I decided to adjust my attitude towards, and this is something I've been resisting all along, because it's not in my nature. My nature is to give people the benefit of the doubt, to actually assume that they're smarter than they, or as smart as they should be. Okay? So smarter than they actually are, in other words. So my new attitude would be to look at the comments as basically as, you know, the type of squealing you hear from a pig pen. Okay? I've often said about Reddit, you know, you go to Reddit, if one of my videos lands on Reddit, there's a lot of, there's huge, that dominates, that kind of stuff, how unsafe everything is. And so I came to think of that place as a pig pen. So that's the way I'm gonna, you know, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes. I mean, that'll allow me to ignore them, because I had a lot of people saying just ignore it, and they seem to be ignoring the fact that, you know, if you read these things, they'll irritate you. Okay, so I'm not going to allow it to irritate me anymore, because I've made a shift in how I view the people that are making the comments.
Hey piggy, hey pig.
Anyway, so that's enough talking about that. I'll talk about this briefly. This is my new toolbox. I released a video for this morning. It took quite a while to get this one done, and I've been working on this most of this week just passed. I finally finished everything yesterday late afternoon, to the point where I could just publish everything this morning. You know, there's a lot to it. I started building this back in December, I think. Could have been late November when I started working on the plans. Anyway, so got it all done, and it's doing okay. I think right now it has around 12,000 views, which is pretty good. I don't think it's going to do as well as the large toolbox. I think that one has more universal appeal than this one. Although, you know, if you're short of space, right, this would be the way to go, right? Because you can put this on the bench, you can put it somewhere. You know, you can even, you know, set it up permanently so it's open like this, and use the inside the lid rather than have it closed. You can use the inside lid as a kind of a mini tool board, right? And still leave it so that you can close it in case in the future you want to move things, right? So yeah, I like it. Where it's going to go in here, I'm not sure yet. I talked about changing this wall over here. I'm not going to be doing that until the spring, because in the spring I want to get a lot more hardwood to add to my collection that I've already got here. I'm going to be using some of this hardwood fairly soon, actually, quite a lot of it actually, to build my new workbench. I posted a poll on Locals, and the I can't say overwhelming response was that I should build the workbench. So that's what I'll be working on next. It was either the workbench or the bandsaw, the 12-inch bandsaw, or the workmate, the folding workmate thing. That got very few votes. And the banquette that I'm going to be building in my kitchen, that got very few votes. So the top two were the bandsaw and the workbench. So I'll be doing the workbench. I haven't settled on the design yet. I want to spend tomorrow actually working on that, looking at my old drawing for it, the one I've been posting, showing, and seeing if I can come up with something that's better. Okay? Even if it's not as flashy, that is the problem, right? I don't really need one of these traditional type workbenches with the dog holes and stuff in it, right? I want to have a workbench, yes, that's nice and solid and stable and has a good solid vise on there, but I don't need one of these fancy ones. But if you want to get the views on it, if you want to get the eyeballs on your video, then it needs to be something remarkable. So, I don't know, we'll see. All right? Anyway, this thing is awesome. Drawers work beautifully. Okay? They don't have this smooth ball bearing sound that the metal slides have, but they have a nice, sound. That's kind of, satisfying. They make that little click when they come up against the stop too, right? And they work really smooth. So you got two shallow ones on the top for all of your chisel, screwdrivers, other things that'll fit in here. I think these are 1.5 inches deep. Hang on, I'll get my tape. 1.75 inches deep. So that's good. Good stuff in here. And then the two on the bottom are a little bit deeper. Well, I think almost double. 3 inches deep. And you can put the bigger stuff in here like planes. Right? And then up on top, like I said, you've got the lid, which I sized for larger hand saws. Okay, and I've also got my back saw that I rebuilt. That could go in there. And then the tray on the inside is like a blank canvas where you can, organize it the way you want to. It's also 3 inches deep. I'm fairly certain. You'd think I'd know this. I made the plans after all. So it's 3 inches deep. It's about 28 inches wide. And, I guess I got the tape. I can measure 11 inches deep this way. Anyway, so all the dimensions are in the plans. And here's the thing about the plans. All right, if you don't like this size, say it's too long, maybe you want something shorter, you can change the length of the parts involved. What I would do is I would print out the plans and I would pick out the parts that need to be shorter or lengthened. You can actually make it longer as well. Like this one would have to be, like these two would have to be longer. This would have to be longer. The drawer fronts and all the parts that go from side to side, and the drawers would have to be longer. But then you just scratch out the dimension that's in there and you subtract however much you want it to be. Like if you want the whole thing to be 4 inches shorter, you'll take 2 inches off each of these drawer parts here, right? And just do the simple math in the drawings to do that. I wouldn't mess with the height. I came up with this height after a lot of messing around, okay? Because I figured this is perfect. 3 inch deep drawer is not deep enough for a lot of clutter, but it's deep enough to put bigger stuff in. And the depth of the drawers, that really makes it easy to organize the smaller stuff, which you'll have a lot of if you're a woodworker. Anyway, if you haven't watched the video on this, it's up on my main channel right now. Plans are available on my website. There's also a couple of exclusive videos in the build article on my website that go along with this if you're interested. I spent more than a full day writing the build article for this. This is my intention from now on, to put more detail into the build article and make it so that if you're like, a lot of people just watch the video because it's the video, but if you're really interested in building a project, it's best to go to the build article as well, and you'll get the rest of the detail. Because people leave me comments all the time, you know, asking this, asking that, and usually those answers are in the build article, right? And then the build article and the video go with the plans. So if you want all that, there's a link in the description.